It's pretty
And so I'll let you do the roll call.
Board Member Reister.
Present.
Board Member Doyle.
Here.
Board Member Cease.
Here.
Board Member Wakeman.
Here.
Board Member Chambers.
Here.
Board Member Lindmuth.
Here.
Board Member Davis.
Here.
Board Member DeVore is absent, and Chair Reagan.
Here. We need a motion to approve the absence of DeVore.
So moved.
Second.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Approval of the agenda. We need a motion for that.
Move it.
Brian, is there a second?
Second.
Rita, any discussion or changes? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Need a motion for that.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Is there any corrections or changes or typos that anyone wants to point out? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Treasurer's report. Sue.
Not a whole lot to report on. As everyone knows, the tax bills have just been sent out, so there's no tip of revenue reflected on the statement. We'll be starting our fiscal year July 1 with approximately $507,707 in cash. As you know, a few financial highlights at the last meeting. A commitment was made for Valley Vista Construction for $105,000. Also, $10,250 has been transferred out for the Valley Vista Engineering. And additionally, this year we have a commitment for $50,000 for the trail payment and $100,000 for the light and power loan for the High Street property.
Okay, any questions for Sue? If none, need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
A motion there.
Okay, Lori, second.
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Public comments for items not on the agenda? Cameraman, anybody? No? Okay. We'll move on to old business. Anything old business we need to bring up, Lee?
No.
No? New business. Construction engineering for Valley Vista.
Good evening, good morning, Chairman. Afternoon now, isn't it? We're doing the 2022 Lowell Street Improvement Project that should be starting up here at the end of the month, which is basically paving, removing old pavement, putting new pavement down. We have 7 streets that were chosen amongst all our streets in need of repair. Basically concentrating on the west side of town this year. One such street is Valley Vista, which falls under the DDA, which you kindly approved last meeting for getting the construction work done. One thing we like to do when we do projects is have engineering oversight during the work so that we know we have somebody out there watching the work, making sure it's done properly so that when we spend this money, we're getting what we're expecting. Williams & Works, our engineers, provided us a scope of services for this type of work. Again, they're going to do it on all 7 of the streets that are being worked on. Their scope of services include the contract documents, any construction staking, and observation of the work during the project, and then addressing any engineering needs as they come up. And then at the, during the project and at the end, they document all the work that was done, the pay items, make sure all the paperwork and payments are proper and final payment and paperwork is completed. They're going to do all this work for all the streets and a cost not to exceed $43,800. Because of the work on Valley Vista is within the DDA, we're asking the DDA to pay $9,400 towards the total amount, and the local street funds will pay the remaining $34,400. I believe attached is the scope of services in case you have any questions where the numbers come from. I'd like to get this approved. So again, they're looking at starting the work about the 25th, 27th of July with completion a month later by the end of August, provided weather cooperates.
Okay, Dan, any questions from the board?
should mention, we did add another street. Originally, we were only planning on paving 4 streets. We added 3 additional streets. One of those streets was actually all in the DDA district, which is Church Street, but we're not asking the DDA to pay for Church Street, so.
Good?
Is
Any
it
other,
customary to have that kind of expense, overseeing expense on?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll move it.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. The only thing I'll add down there is just a reminder for some of the new board members, the whole street may not be in the DDA district, but if it's 1 or 2 or 3 blocks that are in the district, that falls under our ability to, pay that. So if they redid something that's not in our district, it's really got to stop at our border, so that we don't, we're not capturing money and spending it someplace that it's not appropriate and it's lawful, so. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. 7B, and Handicap Accessibility Improvement Project.
Yeah, so we budgeted, if you recall, $50,000 in a reimbursement program for businesses in the DDA district to have available to them to be able to put in handicapped access ramps to their buildings. And so I started the process of putting guidelines together. Basically what I did was I took something I had similar to this in my former community and just tried to make it fit for this. And so that's what I'm looking to do. So basically I'll just kind of walk through some of the guidelines. Now understand, I'm not ready to approve this or anything like that. I'm just having you take a look at it. Because there's still some things that I got to go back in and tweak, and I still got to have the city attorney look at it, so to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. But the goal of the program obviously is to strengthen the economic viability of downtown Lowell by providing financial incentives for improving handicap accessibility to existing buildings. And that was the reason why this was started. So this would be treated like any normal building project with the city. You still have to, the applicant would still have to go through the building department, get the proper permits, make sure they're doing everything according to the standards, the building code, and all of those things. So the first thing that you still have to do, in order for us to even be able to consider the project, it has to be approved. It would have to be approved by the building officials, PCI. And this is a program where it's obviously subject to annual budget appropriations. It would be first come, first serve. What I've done in the past is if you have more than what you have budgeted, the way you could set it up is you could approve those projects, and then once you get your reallocation, they could then be reimbursed. So that's something that I've done in the past. I don't think that's and you may get 5 applications, you may get 1. I don't know. And if it's if you do find that you get more and there's more money available, then maybe you can do more. So that's another option as well. So basically what I propose is that the minimum project cost that they would have to be in order to be eligible for the funding is $2,500, and the plan would be to reimburse up to $10,000, not to exceed $10,000. So for example, in order to get $10,000, you'd have to do $20,000. The project would be $20,000. So if your project was $15,000, you'd be eligible for $7,500 in reimbursement. So it'd be 50% of the amount, not to exceed $10,000. The area that we would include is basically, I included this for the entire DDA district. I included obviously the downtown businesses. I included the businesses that extend out to West Main, to all the national city limits. I also included the businesses on Bowles Road that are in the DDA district, along with the businesses out on Foreman, Metric, Root Lowell, and Lighthouse. They're all members of the DDA, so I made it eligible to everyone. One of the things that has to happen is if a tenant wants to do, if a tenant's renting from someone, they have to have permission from the building owner to participate, to do the work. That would be something that we would require for them. And basically what we consider funding would be all costs for material, labor, architectural, engineering, any design services for the handicap ramp, railings, and any required landings. What wouldn't be eligible would be facade improvements, interior improvements, any property acquisitions, any types of appraisers, attorney fees, permit fees, any bartering. We wouldn't reimburse any bartering that was done. And then, what they would have to do though is, if they were to submit a plan, they would have to bring the proposal to us. They'd have to bring it to me. I'd have to review it. If it met all the requirements, we would then bring it to you to consider. The funding would be reimbursable funding. So it would be, they'd have to do the work. Well, what they'd have to do is they get a minimum of 2 quotes for the work, and then provide us those quotes. And then from there, we would have their proposal. You would either approve it or not approve it. If you approve it, it would be reimbursed. So they have to do the work up front, and then we would reimburse them 50% at the end. And that's how a lot of different facade programs work. This isn't a facade program, but I try to structure it as such. I put a lot of situational stuff that can come up into the guidelines. My experience is there's a lot of guidelines in here, but my experience is that when these issues, if issues come up, those usually can be worked out between usually myself and the applicant or the DDA board. But the biggest issue obviously is it's a reimbursement program. It's not, we're going to just give you $10,000 to go do it. It's got to be, they got to show that they're doing it, and then we can provide the match after. So that's really, it's kind of a general overview is what I'm looking to put together. I didn't know if anyone had any issues with that. I'm not asking for any approval at this time because I still got to go back and clean it up a little bit, but that's where we stand.
Would you have pre-approved contractors for them?
I do not want to do pre-approved contractors. I would let them go get their contractors. I don't like being in the business of dictating businesses to use.
But they'd have to be licensed.
But they'd have to be a licensed contractor. But they can go get any licensed contractor, they bids from any licensed contractor they so choose.
For the improvements, would they have to be, or would we want them to be ADA compliant?
They have to be ADA compliant, yes.
And then my second one is for eligible improvements, including in there the automatic doors.
That's a good one. I didn't even think of that. That's probably something we should
And a
have.
lot of times that's more important almost than the
Yeah, that's
if you already have
probably-
the door, you can't.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I can add that.
Okay.
That's why I brought it to you now. So somebody would think of something I didn't think of. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm working on. So.
Good, okay. And just as a reminder, we approved some handicap accessibility on the block building.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why we don't put the money up front, because they never did any improvements, and so they lost the ability to, it went up for bid again, I think.
It's out for bid right now.
Yes, so. Okay, good, Mike, thanks very much. Any other questions for Mike on that? Okay, as far as reports and member comments, any comments about from the board members? Rita?
No.
I've had some questions from the public about the restrooms
Yes,
and the music speakers on the Riverwalk.
so the restrooms are open.
They're out- no, not the
The restrooms are open. We actually put signage on the restroom last week. I believe the lock was put in yesterday.
Oh, yesterday,
Yes.
okay. And it's open from,
Different days, but he has them, Dan has them.
Just to give you an idea, our summer hours are set currently 9 to 9, Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 10 because of the concerts on Thursday. Friday and Saturday are 9 to 11. And then Sunday, because of the church service in the morning, they open at 7 and go until 9 at night. And then in the winter, we'll change those hours accordingly.
super.
Is there a place where those hours are published, like on the city website or anything?
We can put that up, like I said, we literally set these yesterday.
Oh, gotcha.
We can put that.
Probably in the next few weeks, you'll probably see a sign on the, put up on there that we can change.
Awesome.
This, like I said, this just came up yesterday.
Yeah.
Cool, good, thank you.
Any update on the Riverwalk tonight, Rick?
The update, great band, confetti tribute band. They've been here once before, they're gonna bring a big crowd.
Get here early.
Right here.
So, okay.
The only thing to add is that we made $201 in May for the charging station and $155 in June.
Good. We need to set a meeting for next month or
I don't believe we'll need one in August, probably September.
September. Okay. So, with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Here, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ms. Baker?